Chapter 63, and this one is chilly. The first thing I noticed is that I really actually missed Liko. I say that because did anyone ever actively miss Ash while his series was airing? Can't say I ever did, so I feel like that just goes to show how much development the trio is getting in this series. Although less about Liko, we should be concerned with Dot. Right as she begins to succumb to frostbite, we notice some Satoto gliding gracefully up above. It's all a part of some very attention-grabbing frosty fun. So once Liko gets set up for her test, they look into these joyrides that are going on. And yo, this does look like a fun time sledding, and not the death trap for me that skiing would be. It's also neat to see how the kids handle the obstacles in their way. We start with Roy and Fuecoco when this duo blows right through their barriers. Up next is Dot and Quaxwell, who calculate the most logical course. Her face says one thing, but I feel like Dot's having a good time. Then we have Liko and Florigato. Although it's a little nerve-wracking, they dive right in. Yeah, their path starts to get crazy, but Flori helps them navigate it. In the flashiest way possible, I might add. This flexing feline right here keeps her trainer on course, even saving Liko's life in the process. So sick to watch Flori show off like that before her match too, as a little reminder as to what this magic cat can do. On the cliffside, they come across Grusha, whose mere presence is intimidating enough to put on the pressure. Although I will say, Liko doesn't seem to be as nervous about this as Katie though. Seems Rika helped to shake out the nerves. It also turns out we had just no idea how cool Grusha is. Or was, I guess. In his heyday, he was a professional snowboarder who unfortunately had a gnarly accident one day. However, that Satoto that he avoided crashing into was so grateful for Grusha's sacrifice, they ended up becoming partners. This was good background to get, but I'd have to guess why. These cinematic flashbacks have mostly been reserved for our main cast, and now randomly Grusha. I mean, this certainly hasn't been afforded to any of the other gym leaders, so maybe there's a larger role for this ice user. Nonetheless, always good to get familiar with the person Liko's about to challenge. I don't know, I love this field too, it's hard to explain why, but this crucial match feels just like one battle happening in the massive Pokemon world. And what a battle it is! Florigato is Liko's first pick, and Grusha goes with a Ssss Titan. Liko's first course of action is to disorient them, but once Flori's attack had zero effect, I just go, uh-oh. Especially since Grusha is definitely doing damage. Immediately noticing the mismatch, Liko tags Flori out, which to me shows she's putting in thought, which is great in tangent with Hatchram putting in work. The only problem is the Titan causes her to clock out early. Maybe this leads to the kids noticing a gap between the primary and secondary mons, maybe not. But honestly, they all need to be redeemed. Poor looks all around. Liko and Florigato are looking good though, and it's really sweet to see them thinking outside the box. Attacking the Titan from the inside out is actually pretty brutal when you think about it. Enough so to get it switched out. Next, Grusha calls out Altaria, and I mean, who doesn't love Altaria? It's still great too to see this level of independence and drive from the kids. Separated from the Volt Tacklers, no longer handheld by the gym leaders, the training wheels are coming off. Everything in this match looks great too. The character models are on point and the impacts are felt. Once they've gotten Altaria down, it led Liko to Terrastalize. Better timing than I imagine that she learned from Roy. I get the impression Grusha underestimated Liko at first, but he doesn't continue to. His Terrastalization was because he knew it was the best choice. Flori and Altaria go head to head, and Florigato is one of the few Shipmon that could hold her own here. Though, struggle she might, it is a futile effort. Their flame was ignited, but Grusha caused them to chill out. Was so surprised that Liko lost because it felt like she did everything right. Liko didn't have a freshly evolved starter getting its water legs, she didn't botch the Terrastalization, they just were simply overpowered. Still, that doesn't take away from the great match they just had, which Liko thankfully has her buddies to remind her of. Although the surprises don't stop with the lost battle, Grusha actually fails Liko. That is crazy too, considering the kids have passed for much less than. Like I said though, looks like the training wheels are coming off. It is tough to see Liko in this state, shaking, so upset with herself, but she knows that not every moment calls for tears. She keeps her composure and thanks Grusha for the match, knowing in her heart that this will not be the last one. Really ice solid episode. Initially, I wasn't sure why Grusha was getting so fleshed out, but seeing as how we're going to have a rematch, I imagine he's going to be playing a large role in Liko's development, who has already done so much. And I don't just mean in the grand scheme, I mean on an episode by episode basis. Her reaction to Grusha's win is much different than Rika's. I can't say every test result has done it for me, but the different factors to decide a win or lose are certainly keeping me on my toes. I say this especially since the kids are receiving tangible feedback. It isn't just go train harder. They're receiving action items and goalposts that make the matches worth investing in. That's super too when the quality of the matches keeps drastically improving. All that said, I think this episode well deserves a high B.